Hello guys, welcome to another video in which we're going to keep on explaining the topics from the book Grammar and Beyond. As you see right now, we are on unit 32, sorry, that means that it is the last one, the last unit that we're going to see, and with that we're going to finish the book and the level as well. So the topic for today is conjunctions and adverb clauses. Two topics that we have seen before. In the case of conjunctions, if you remember, we saw them as fanboys, and each of them is something that is normally used to join two ideas, two things from the same category, and many other stuff that we're going to see in detail just in a second. As well as adverb clauses, in the past classes, we have seen what subject relative clauses are and object relative clauses are. Today, we're going to see what adverb clauses are, and as you may guess by the name, an adverb relative clause or an adverb clause normally is used to describe an action, okay? Because remember that adverbs describe verbs. And in this case, nothing is going to change regarding that aspect of these kinds of structures. But let's talk and let's see how to use these different structures, how to use all these different formations in sentences, and as well the meanings and the uses that they got. First, we're going to start with the conjunctions, okay? And the conjunctions, as I said, you already know which are they. We have already seen them before in previous classes, and already you use them almost every single time. And the conjunctions, you have and, but, or so. And yet, that can connect single words, phrases, or clauses, okay? Pay attention to that because conjunctions can join those things. Single words, like for example, if I say, I like apples and pears, I'm joining two nouns over there. I'm joining two names. What I can say, Gerardo is tall and shy. I'm giving two characteristics about Gerardo in this case, and in this way, I'm joining the two adjectives to describe Gerardo just by using a conjunction. Another example is like if I want to contrast ideas, like for example, I passed the level, but I didn't pass the final exam, for saying something. In that regard, you are joining the two ideas by a conjunction, but you're showing the contrast in the two ideas. But without further ado, let's see more in detail with the presentation. So right now, we have this example. Black Friday causes problems for shoppers and stores, okay? For shoppers and stores. You see over here that we have the word shoppers, and here we have the word stores, which means that both of them are nouns. And since both of them are nouns, that means that we're talking about a series of words. And since they are the same, that means that I have a noun over here and another noun over here. I can use a conjunction to join. However, imagine that instead of having a noun and a noun, I would have a noun and then an adjective. Then in that case, I wouldn't be able to do that because that sentence will be grammatically faulty. Because one of the rules of grammar is that you need to have both elements that are grammatically equivalent on both sides after a conjunction, okay? So I cannot have an adjective on one side and then you have a verb, or you cannot have a verb and then you have a noun. You can have an adjective and an adjective, an adverb and an adverb, and a noun and a noun, and so on. They shop on weekends, but not on weekdays, okay? On weekends, as you see over here, this is a phrase. How do you know this is a phrase? Simple, a phrase normally may just have one word and that's it. In this case, a noun and something else, and we have a preposition that is a prepositional phrase, but I don't want to bore you with that. So basically we have two phrases that we're joining together, okay? Joining together by the coordinated conjunction. Then we have clauses as well that can be joined. If you remember, a clause is, in some cases, some structure that includes a subject and a verb, but alone it may not have a meaning on its own. However, that depends if that is a dependent clause or an independent clause. In this case, we're joining two independent clauses. That means that they are sentences that they have a complete meaning. They don't need anything else, but we are joining the two ideas no matter what. So we have the first one that is, he wanted to save money. If I keep this sentence alone, it will make complete sense and I wouldn't need to add anything else. It is understood the meaning. So he shopped on Black Friday. If I do the same with this sentence, he shopped on Black Friday, you will determine that they are individual and they are independent. They don't need on each other to have a meaning. But what we are doing over here is that we are showing the result of a certain action. That's why we decided to join these two sentences. But let's take a look at the uses in detail to understand this better. So the first use for conjunctions is that you can use and to connect related information and add ideas. So remember that the meaning of and is addition, okay? You want to add something else. You want to give some extra information that you probably didn't provide in the last sentence. For example, the shoppers were tired and hungry. You see, we are joining over here by and two adjectives, okay? Two adjectives, we are adding more. The people go out and spend money. What are we joining over here? Two verbs, okay? Two verbs in this case. Go out, they go out and they spend money, okay? That means that we are joining the two activities or the two actions that people do. The store opened at 5 a.m. and shoppers were waiting outside, okay? The store opened at 1 a.m. and the shoppers were waiting outside, okay? As you see over here, we have two clauses that are being joined. That means that they are individual and they can have a meaning on its own, but we are joining it to give more information. You can use or to give alternatives or choices. A or is normally used to give choices to anybody that you're talking to. So you have a list of choices that you can choose from, and that's why you normally use this conjunction. For example, you can say, you can shop today or tomorrow. As well, we are joining two nouns over here, and we're giving an option of somebody. So you can have the option to go out and shop today, or you can do it tomorrow, no problem. They camp in the park lot or in front of the store. They camp in the parking lot or in front of the store. So you see over here, we have two phrases. They start with in, that means that they are both prepositional phrases, and that's why they are joined by a conjunction. You can shop today or you can wait until tomorrow. Joining clauses as well. You can use but to connect contrasting ideas. As I was explaining at the beginning, the store is small but successful. You see two ideas that are contrasting. Even though it's small, it can be successful. We're joining words in that regard. They like the clothes, but not the high prices. Over here, we're joining the phrases as well. And as you see, really simple to do it. And she has invited Jim for the holiday, but she has never invited us. Clauses as well can be joined with but. We use so to connect causes and results, or cause and effect if you would prefer that. So that means that an action is the one that make another action to happen. For example, we have the stores are crowded, so I stay home. That means that because the stores are crowded, I will stay home because I see that everything's so crowded and I don't want to go to buy in these kinds of conditions. You can use and before so to show a result. For example, stores cut their prices and so they make less money. And so they make less money. So in this case, we're showing the result of a certain action that was taken. Over here, for example, these stores took the action of cutting the prices, so they are not going to make that amount of money that probably they made with regular prices. It's not common to use so to connect words or phrases. This is the reason why, because so shows you a result or shows you an effect of something. Therefore, you're not contrasting ideas, you're not comparing ideas, or you're not adding ideas. That's why it's normally not used with words or phrases, and normally it's more used with clauses because you want to show an action. But if I say a noun, for example, I say, let's start with an adjective. Like, for example, Camila is smart, okay? Smart, so creative. Smart, so creative. That doesn't fit at all. It doesn't have a good feeling to it when you're saying it, but also it's grammatically inequivalent, because how can you say that smart is the cause of the effect of her being creative? That doesn't make any sense, grammatically speaking and logically speaking. So use a comma when you connect two long clauses. However, you don't need a comma when the clauses are short. This is optional, but I would recommend you the following, that most of the times when you use a coordinated conjunctions, it is normally an agreement in grammar or in written English that you normally add a comma before the conjunction. Why? Because in the written form, that since it is most formal, we should respect this rule, okay? It's optional, yes, but I would recommend you to include it every time that you use it. So this is an important day and a busy shopping day. Store cut prices and people save money. When you connect two clauses and the subject is the same, you don't need to repeat the subject, okay? For example, people go shopping and buy holiday gifts on this Friday. So that means over here, since I already have a subject in the sentence, I don't need to add another one, because in this case, I'm talking about the same subject. If I were talking about two subjects that are different, then I should include the other subject. But over here, I'm talking about the same people, therefore I don't need to add anything else. They save money, but don't realize the items aren't new. They are the ones who save money, and they are the ones who do not realize the price of the items or the condition of the item. If the verb is the same, you don't need to repeat it. Like for example, people can shop online or at the mall, okay? Or at the mall. Shop online or at the mall. Over here, as you can see in the parentheses, you will see that you can have the option of can shop as well, which means that in this regard, we are saying that people can do the action of shopping either on the mall or online. Therefore, you don't need to repeat that action. Shoppers start arguments and even start fist fighting. There are some cutting pieces and hoping to sell more. In addition, you often do not need to repeat prepositions after conjunctions. Like for example, people are not at work on Thursday and Friday. Over here, since I already have a preposition joining my two nouns, I don't need to add another one. If you remember, I explained this in one of the past videos in which I said that prepositions take objects that normally are nouns. Therefore, if you have one joined by a coordinated conjunctions, you don't need another preposition because it's already having as an object both nouns. You can use but plus not to shorten contrasting clauses to words or phrases. Like for example, the shop's on Friday but not on Thursday. This is for you to not write a whole sentence and not write a whole idea, but to show that the contrast that you're saying is like to not repeat yourself with the same action. Like for example, they shop on Friday but not on Thursday. They like the clothes, but not the high prices. So you see over here, they shop on Friday, but they do not shop on Thursday. This is the complete sentences we can say without having been shortened it out. And the same happens over here. What happens, instead of writing all of these, I will make it more simple and more appealing to the reader. Do not use not if the contrasting ideas are not both affirmative. If they are negative and affirmative, they cannot be joined together. Remember, they have to be grammatically equivalent, and I cannot have equity with a negative and an affirmative statement. Therefore, I need to decide if I want to use exactly one of them. Why affirmative in this case? Well, because you already are using not over here. Since therefore making your sentence negative, you don't need to add another negation to that. The store is small but successful. And we have the last example with yet and is a formal word and it has similar meaning to but, yet connects strongly contrasting ideas or surprising informations like it's often called, yet shoppers still sleep in doorways, okay, yet. It's like the same as saying even though, okay? Even though it is cold, the shoppers still live in doorways. So that's the meaning of yet. The deals are often not good, yet people still go shopping. And you can use and with yet, like for example, there is a downside and yet people is popular shopping, it's a popular shopping day. It's like, for example, if you're saying in Spanish, hay un contratiempo, pero aún así, that would be the meaning of yet, and yet, people go shopping, okay? So now we're going to see the adverb clauses, and the adverb clauses show ideas that are connected. They begin with the conjunctions such as because, since, although, even though. Why the adverb clauses start with these kinds of conjunctions or these kinds of words? The reason why is because they want to give you a reason for something. There are many types of adverb clauses, but in this class, or at least in this book, we're going to focus on a determined type that is called the adverb clause of reason. And what are adverb clauses of reason? Basically, they are clauses that they give you the reason why a certain action is happening, or they show you why somebody is doing something in a certain sentence. We're going to see some examples like this one. Many people have the day off work, even though it's not an official holiday. Okay, even though you're giving a reason why these people is having a day off, even though they don't have a. You see that over here, when you are using adverb clauses, you will have two elements. That one are the adverb clause, and then you have the main clause. And if you remember the main clause, do not confuse your life, and to make it easier, it's just a sentence, okay? A sentence that has a complete meaning on its own, has subject and verb, and doesn't need anything else to have. We're going to see the examples and how they are used. First, we have the adverb clause. That means the word that we use to introduce the clause. That's because. There's a big sale today. The stores are crowded. Okay, because there's a big sale today. The stores are crowded. If I have just the main clause, that is the stores are crowded, this is a complete sentence. It doesn't need anything else. But if I have this one that says because there is a big sale today, Because there is a big cell today. Alone by itself, it doesn't make any sense. Therefore, we need to have a main clause to have sense on that. Over here, we're explaining that even though the stores are crowded, there is a big sale today, okay? Okay, that means that the reason why stores are really, really crowded and they have a lot of people going in and going out is because there is a big sale, and probably today they have really, really great prices for buying different items. As you see over here, we're going to have the adverb clause. You can have it at the beginning or you can have it at the end of the sentence. Notice that if you have it at the beginning of the sentence, you will always end it with a comma and then you continue with the main clause. Since is the same as saying because, okay? Since there is a big sale today, stores are crowded. Although it's not a holiday, a lot of people have the day off. Although it's not a holiday. It's like saying in Spanish, a pesar de no ser una festividad, a lot of people go out, they work. Even though, aunque it's not a holiday, etc. So as you see, they are really simple to use. They are not so complicated. You will always have the adverb conjunction over here. Well, not the adverb conjunction, but the conjunction at the beginning. And then you will have, remember, a phrase, okay? A phrase or a clause. Remember that clauses, they have a subject, they have a verb, they can have a complement as well, but they don't have a complete meaning on its own. The other way around, in which we're going to use the adverb clauses at the end and not at the beginning, you can say, the stores are crowded because there is a big sale today. Because there is a big sale today. Notice that when we use it in this way, you don't need a comma at the end, okay? The comma is only used when you have the adverb clause at the beginning. And we have the same examples all over again. Now we're going to see the uses. Like most of the clauses, an adverb clause must have a subject and a verb. Obviously, we have people on Black Friday because prices are lower. Prices, in this case, will be your subject and are will be your verb. Therefore, we have a clause with subject and verb. An adverb clause on its own is not a sentence, it's a fragment. And what's a fragment? A fragment is a grammatical structure that has a subject, has a verb, but doesn't have a complete meaning. Okay, doesn't make any sense on its own, and it cannot stand alone. That means that it needs something else to have sense. They have the day of work, although it's not a holiday. If I have this, for example, if I had this as although it's not a holiday, period, with nothing else, that is a big mistake in grammar, and you should correct it. An adverb clause can come before or after the main clause, as I explained at the beginning. Use the comma when the adverb comes first. I explained this already with examples. Although, even though, and though connect contrasting ideas, okay? Contrasting ideas. That means that they have the opposite to say of the main clause. For example, although it's not a holiday, workers have the day off. That means that they have the day off, but it's not a holiday. The reason why, we don't know. But the reason is that it's not a holiday and therefore they have the day off. Even though some deals sound fantastic, they are not, okay? And their price is low and the deals are often no good. And then we have, for example, the other words that are because and since that they introduce reasons or causes and connect them with results. For example, it is popular days since stores offer special deals. Okay, we're explaining the reason why it is a popular day. And the reason why is because stores have special deals. Because prices are low, the stores are crowded. Because stores are crowded, many people stay home. You see, really, really simple how to use them. You can use seen when the reader or listener knows about the reason from general knowledge or because you have explained it before. That is the reason why you're going to use because first if somebody hasn't heard about the reason for something or doesn't know the answer. But in the other case, you're going to use since to show that probably that person has already heard about it before or already has certain knowledge about the situation. For example, most stores cut their prices on Black Friday since prices are lower and it's a popular shopping day. So introduces result, as we saw already, like the stores are crowded, so many people stay home. You can also introduce a purpose or reason. Like, for example, the camp is in the parking lot, so they can be first in the store. And do not start a sentence with so. Never, never, never in your life start a sentence with so or with any other conjunction, okay? With any other conjunction. They are not meant to start a sentence, but they are meant to join two sentences together. With that, we're going to finish the explanation of conjunctions and adverb clauses. With this, we finish the book and we finish as well the level. And I gotta say, guys, this has been a really, really weird way to finish it up. But I hope this video is helpful. If you have any question, let me know on the Google Classroom platform, as always. And remember that I'm there to try to solve all of your questions. I hope that you're doing fine. I hope that everything is going great for you. And remember that we will see each other until the day of the exam. So keep on working, keep on studying, and God bless you all.